Countries are divided into developed and developing countries based on their social and economic outcome. The developed countries, for example, Singapore, are mostly independent and prosperous. The birth and death rates are low. GDP are high and the revenue is normally generated from the industrial sector. The developing countries, for example, Thailand, are facing the beginning of industrialization. The GDP are low, birth and death rate are high, and the revenue is generated from the service sector.
Strategic location of Singapore promotes it to be a transportation hub. For the seaports, Singapore is the island state in the Strait of Malacca and at the tip of Malay Peninsula, so it's where Europe-Asia routes pass and most of the ships stop here. As a result, Port of Singapore is the second largest port in the world, while Thailand's port is not as popular due to longer distance and other factors like technology and regulation. For the airport, both countries are suitable for flight transfer because they are in the middle of the Southeast Asia. Changi and Suvarnabhumi are the top two of the busiest airports in this region.
Thailand was the one of the world's fastest growing and most successful developing countries in the 1960s and 1970s. The rapid growth in output accompanied by progress in poverty alleviation was particularly impressive in the 1970s. However, by the early 1980s, Thailand's economic performance has slowed, owing in part to the global recessions. Thailand's harvest outstripped domestic consumption, allowing the country to export large amounts of food each year. On the other hand, Singapore gained independence from Malaysia in 1965 with a small domestic market and high levels of unemployment and poverty. The Singapore government established the Economic Development Board on the 1st August 1961 to spearhead an investment drive and make Singapore an attractive destination for foreign investment. The infrastructure is being repaired and improved. These efforts increase economic productivity and lay the groundwork for development of basic industry.
The median age is the age at which a population is divided into two approximately equal groups. It is a single measure that summarizes a population's age distribution. The retirement age is the age at which a person expects or requires relaxation, and it is also the age at which they may be available for government benefits. Gender disparity is the social phenomenon in which men and women are not treated equally. The crime index is based on the crime rate per 1,000 population for all crimes in a specific neighborhood or city. And the productivity rate is the amount of output produced in an hour of work.
According to Statista Research Department, approximately 54 million people in Thailand have access to internet in 2020. That's equivalent to 77%. In 2026, the number is projected to be 60 million people. On average, Thai people spend around 9 hours on internet, including 2.5 hours on social media. The main internet service providers are AIS, TrueMove, and DTAC. However, Joshka Muller reported that approximately 89% of Singaporeans have access to internet in 2020. This will increase to 93% in 2025. Singapore kids start using internet at the age of 8, 2 years below world's average. People spend over 8 hours on internet by the service of Singtel, StarHub, and M.6.
Economic structure is the fluctuating balance of output, trade, earnings, and employment taken from various economic sectors. The Human Development Index or HDI, was created to emphasize that people and their capabilities should be the ultimate criteria for assessing the development of a country. The total monetary or market worth of all completed products and services produced inside a country's boundaries in a certain time period is known as gross domestic products or GDP. Gross national products or GNP is an estimate of the total value of all final products and services turned out in a given period. GDP is an economic theory that compares different countries' currency through a basket of goods. Gini coefficient is a measure of the distribution of income across a population. This table compares the values that can show the economic performance in Thailand and Singapore.
The Democracy Index concerned with political institutions and freedoms. The index attempts to measure the state of democracy in each country. Freedom in the World is a yearly survey and report conducted by non-governmental organization Freedom House in the United States that assesses the level of civil liberties and political rights in each country as well as major linked and contested territories across the world. Corruption Perception Index evaluates countries according to their perceived level of public sector corruption as judged by expert judgments and opinion surveys. Equality means that each person or group of people has the same access to resources and opportunities. But equity recognizes that each person's circumstances are unique and give the precise resources and opportunities required to achieve an equal result.
Singapore is the leader in education. They spend around 20% of annual budget on education. There is a law punishing parents who cannot support their children in primary school. In school, lessons are taught in English and taught in deep knowledge by professional teachers. That puts the competency of students to the global level. As a result, Singapore ranks number 1 in PISA 2015 among OECD groups with score 556, 564, and 535 in science, math, and reading respectively. Moreover, more than half of IB perfect scores are Singaporean. In 2020, Human Capital Index is 0.88. In Thailand, the primary school enrollment rate is approximately 90%. Students have high learning hours and homework that focus on memorization, not critical thinking. Thai students spend around 1,000 to 1,200 hours in the classroom per year. As a result, Thailand ranks the 54th in science and mathematics and 57th in reading in PISA 2015. In 2020, HCI value is 0.61.
In Thailand, the civil service welfare system provides health care coverage to public workers and their families. Employees in the private sector are frequently insured by a social security system funded by payroll contributions. Others require private health insurance that is both widely available and good quality. On the other hand, in Singapore, there is a using of a hybrid financing structure that incorporates nationalized life insurance systems and withdrawals from the Central Provident Fund, a compulsory savings plan for working Singaporeans and permanent residents. Now, let's see life expectancy, happiness index, and global health security index. This table can show the differences between Thailand and Singapore. Thailand 4.0 is an economic model that aims to unlock the country from several economic challenges resulting from the past economic development models. There are 5 agendas for Thailand 4.0, including becoming a first world nation, development of technology, and also future industries. And the last one, we will focus on connecting Thailand to the global community. The future Singapore will rely on technology to boost economic growth, include more green areas, and house vibrant towns that blend work, education, and pay. Here we take you through some of the major infrastructure projects that are set to be completed in the years ahead.